What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. As you can tell, I'm a little bit later than I usually am. I normally try to record and get everything out by noon, and it is currently 7:22. Well, it says 6:10 down here, but yeah, don't worry about that. That is the wrong time. Because I'm not hooked up to internet or anything like that. But I just got back from a weekend of kayaking in Arkansas. So I have literally just got back, ate dinner, and hopped on the computer really quick to record this. So I'm going to try to get this stuff out of the way so I can go upstairs and take a shower because I smell like fish. So today we are going to handle right clicking. And I pulled up shader because I'll just go ahead and start with right clicking and getting assets for shaders. So let's see here. Where do I want to put this? So, render assets. Yeah, I'll put it right here. All right. So first off, we need to create a function for our pop-ups, because it's basically like the pop-ups, like how we have our drop-down menus for our menus up here. So we need a function for it to return the pop-up or set the pop-up, whatever. So string s. So s is the string that it's going to be returning from our pop-up whenever we click on it. So right here we could say if s equals null, then we're just going to return. And for now, what we're going to do is we're going to say if s dot equals new asset. So if we clicked on new asset on the right click pop-up menu, then what we're going to do is we're going to check to see what type it is. So we're going to say if selected type, yeah, it's not dot equals, data type dot shader. So this is what we're going to do if it's a shader. What we're going to do is we're going to say shader dot create. We don't have a method for this yet, so we will do that in just a second. So what we're going to call the new shader that we're creating is just new shader. That way, anytime we create a new shader, the name of it is going to be, of course, new shader. And we will get to creating that here in a second. We'll just go ahead and get the project panel all set up. So if you guys followed along with the menu, the top menu episode, then you're pretty familiar with this method right here. If you're not, it's like I said, it's pretty simple. It's just, yeah, s is the string in the pop-up that we click on, and of course then right here all we do is we just check to see which one we clicked on. So if it's new asset, then it'll be right here. Right here we could say delete asset or whatever. So yeah, it's just a simple way of doing that. So right here in render assets, we are going to check to see if our right click is inside of the project panel. Because, of course, we're inside of the project panel script. Because each one of the panels are going to have its own methods, because, of course, there's going to be different options for each window. So we're going to start with the project panel and then move on from there, just so that we know how to do it and how to extend from it and add more stuff. So right here, we're going to say if r dot contains input mouse dot position. I was doing the whole Unity thing. So if r dot contains mouse dot position, then we need to check to see if the mouse is down. So if mouse dot get button down, and we're going to be using 1 because 1 is right click, 0 is left click. And then in here, what we need to do is we need to make a string of values. So need list string v equals new array list of strings. Let's import that. All right, and if in here we need to say if selected type does not equal, what am I doing? Does not equal data type dot font, because one of the things that we do not want to do is we don't want to create a new font. So let's say we have another data type. Yeah, stop that noise. Say we have another data type that we don't want. We would just say and selected type does not equal, let's say I don't want you to make a new texture from the editor. Then I would just put and selected type does not equal data type dot texture. So whatever you don't want to be able to create from the editor, you just put it in there. So for now, what we're going to say is v dot add. We're going to add new asset. So we're just going to add that tag in there. And for now, we're going to say GUI dot set popup. And let's just create a new rectangle. Right? Am I doing that right? I think so. I hope so. Mouse dot position dot x, and let's just say minus 10, and then mouse dot position dot y minus 10, and then 10, and then 10. And the list that we're going to pop in there is v, and the callback function is the one that we made up there, just called popup. Oh, this popup. Okay, now the reason why we're doing it this way, creating a new rectangle right here and just basically making it 20 pixels So it's just like a little square, because how we have it right now is we have the area of the menu button. So whenever we click on it, we have this area here, and then we have this area here. And this makes it so that if we move our mouse away, that pop-up disappears and it deselects. I completely forget. Oh yeah. My mind's just all over the place. So what we're doing is essentially is just making a box around our mouse position so that it'll stay open. But if we move it out of the way, then it'll disappear. But I think here soon we're going to totally get rid of that, where it doesn't just go away, it'll stay open just like this, because I don't know, it might be less hassle with all this stuff. And then we could just completely get rid of this rectangle right here and just pass in V and then this pop up. So just a little heads up. Eventually this right here will be down here, because the only thing that we don't want in our list of stuff in the pop-up is new asset for font. But we will eventually add like delete asset, rename asset, bloody freaking blah. But all that'll be right here, and then GUI.set pop-up will be underneath it. But for now, since we're only doing new asset, just to make sure that we can get it all working properly, we're just going to slap it together like that. So just to give you a heads up, and so that you know where I'm going with the whole thing. All right, so that is done. So now we actually need something inside of the shader script. We need an actual create method so that we can create a shader. And how we're going to do this is we are going to just simply copy over our default game shader, because we have a default game shader in there that's being loaded. So what we're going to do is, instead of just going through there and, you know, writing a basic shader or whatever inside of a method and having to like write it out in a string and then paste it into the file and all this other bull crap, we're just going to copy the default game shader and then use it to create a new file. And we're probably going to be doing that with all of the assets. So once you see this, you will see how all of the other assets are going to work. It's going to be the exact same thing. It's just duplicating a pre-existing default script or a pre-existing default asset. So to do that, let's go public static void and then create, right? Yeah. And then string name. And what we need to do is we need to throw an IO exception. And that's actually going to why are you being, oh. No? Is it just because there's nothing in here? Oh. It's because I didn't put an S. Duh. And then over here, it's going to make us surround with a try catch. So we'll try to do that And then here I'm going to say debug.log cannot find or cannot duplicate default shader asset. There we go. So if for some reason shader.create doesn't work, it's going to tell us that it cannot duplicate the default shader asset. So that we know that, hey, there might not be an asset imported or a default asset imported for that. So for here, we will just say file source equals, what did I name it? Find? I think it's find in here. Find default game shader. So firstly, we're going to type mismatch cannot. Oh. Okay, so we already know that default game shader exists. So once we find it, we need to call .f. That way we get the file for it. So there's the source. Now we need the destination. So the destination is going to be equal to new file, file. And then it's going to be editor dot working directory. Plus, let's see if I can get this right. Shaders plus name plus dot shader. I don't know why it adds that. Guys, go play, please.
Yeah, you just took a mouse.
I know. You can play Roblox for a little bit. I'll be right back, okay? I'll be done. I'll be done in a few.
I'm playing Piggy, but I can't change the...
Okay, well, I will be up there soon. I'm using these, okay? Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. So now we have our destination file. So now we need to try file input stream and fizz. Yeah, fizz equals new file input stream, and then pass in source. And then for here we need file output stream fos equals new file output stream dest. And this should be a capital F. Oh, capital F. There. I need to import file input stream. Why are you not liking that? Oh, this is the wrong thing. Go. Input file output stream. And then right here, we need to actually get a byte array, call it buffer. It's going to be equal to new byte, and then we're going to use 1024. And then here we're going to say int length those brackets, aren't you? Yeah, you are. There we go. And then here we need to create a loop. So we're going to say while length equals fis dot read buffer is greater than 0. Then fos dot write buffer 0 length. And if any of you have ever messed around with buffers and stuff, then you'll know exactly what this does. Oh, Jesus. I don't have a shirt on, so this chair is like just gripping my back. And I don't know why that is not liking it. Change type of link to Boolean. It's not supposed to be Boolean. Wait a minute. Is that? Yeah, it is. Okay. There we go. I just forgot a bracket. All right. So there we go. So then that writes it to the output stream. And then we need to say new shader dest dot get absolute path dot split 2 backslashes and a period and the first one in there. So it'll be without the file extension. All right, so that is it. That is the basic concept of it all. So let's see if this works. So let's go play, and hopefully I'm not having any kind of issues here. May need to. Let's raise that up. And stop messing with me, microphone. I will punch you. All right, good. Right click, nothing over here. Right click, nothing. Right click, something. Okay. Move it over here. No, I want to see if there's an error. And new asset, nothing. Nothing. Okay. So now how we have this is it's going to pop it up for whatever we have open. So if I say new asset right here, it's going to automatically know that it's going to be a shader asset that I'm wanting to create. That's why we're having it like that. So if I'm on font and I right click, it's not going to do anything because I told it not to, because we're not wanting to create any new font assets. So let's go into here and come on. There we go. There's the new shader. There it is. Now, you probably already know this, but we don't have editing files just yet. I mean, like, I can go in and change it. For instance, if I double click it, here's my new file. So I can change anything in here. I just can't change the name. If I change the name up here, it's not going to change the actual file. So I'm going to say blah shader. So it'll actually change it in here, but in here it's still just called new shader. So just so you know that, because we have no, what we're going to do sometime in the futures we're going to add like a button down here. So if we change anything in here, it's going to tell us, hey, we need to save this file information. So anything that we change in the inspector that is not by double clicking on here and changing it inside of there, so that it'll go ahead and save it once we're done changing all of this stuff. And the reason why we haven't done that yet is because right now we're changing the actual shader information. That is, say if there's a shader on something in here, we're changing it immediately through here, because this shader right here is the shader instance that's on this object. But instead, whenever we click over here, we don't need to click the actual instance of it. What we're going to do is just like create basically a duplicate and then send it over here. And then whenever we change the information and we push this button down at the bottom, then it's going to tell it to update here. And then it'll change the file information. So just so you know that. So if you actually want to change the name of a shader, you're going to have to exit out of this, come in here, change the name, then restart the application. But later we will change that. It's not like you're actually fully using it right now anyways. All right, so let's see how far. 26 minutes. All right, so probably just go ahead and cut this short today then. But that is the basic concept. And this exact concept is how we would do another asset type as well. So sprites, skins, materials, and so on and so on and so on is going to be done the exact same way. So basically, if we copy this right here, this method, and we pasted it inside of, let's say, a material, the material script, and we pasted it in there, what we would do is we would change this right here to materials, change this right here to material because that's the file extension name, and instead of find default game shader, we would do, look, what's the equivalent method in here? Get. So we would use get whatever the default material is, or default game material is, if you have one already made. Now if you don't have one made, of course you're gonna run into some issues because there is no default made. So just so you know that.
Daddy.
I am coming. Hold on.
Okay.
You can wait. And right here we would say, we would actually create the material right here. So we would say what is it? Yeah, new material and then by name. So it'd be the exact same way, just like this.
Why
But it would
you
be
did that?
new material instead of new shader. So if you want to go ahead and do these extra things, then you could follow along just like that, and then come into here and you would say if selected asset equals default or data type dot shader, and then you just make it down here for material or whatever, and it would be exactly the same, and you would say material dot create new material or whatever. So if you want to go ahead and do that, since we're cutting it off here, you can go ahead and see if you can do it yourself. And If not, don't worry. In the next episode, we will go through and we will create this for every single one of these types. We will also, in the next episode, come in and make the ability to delete some of this stuff. And maybe do some right clicking over here. That way, or not, I don't know if I want to do right clicking over here just yet. But I do want to add the ability to delete over here because it's kind of annoying that I can't delete anything over here. So if I create a bunch of stuff, I can't delete it. So if I'm right here and I hit delete, oh, nothing happens. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. But I also want to be able to delete assets or whatever the case may be. So in the next episode, we'll be working on a lot of stuff like that. So if you can't get it, don't worry about it. We will get to it. But it might be good for you to try to get this stuff in yourself, and then, well, then you don't have to worry about the next episode. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I am going to take a shower and wash off this fish smell. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.